Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Office Bloke Daz.
Office Bloke Aidan.
Just two of us today. Again, not around today.
Not around.
Yeah, so it's just the two of us. Best ribs ever. Bit of Cowboy Kent.
Yeah, it's going to make me hungry straight after.
I do like ribs, but saying I only like pork is probably not true, because I have had beef ribs. Pork ribs are better than beef ribs, in my opinion.
Yeah.
For me. And I've never been a massive barbecue sauce fan, only on ribs. It's the only time I have it.
You have ribs quite often, you do?
I do, yeah. I quite like them. It's one of them things, but we've even talked about getting like a new big barbecue and smoker, haven't we?
Have we?
Yeah, we have. I'm putting it in. Can't have it where we live, so we tried to get it at Grandma's house. Yeah. And she's giving us a bit of a bit of defence. Doesn't like them. So bit of sweet charm.
Well, these are the best way to cook ribs. Apparently, no smoke, no problem.
Folks, you see how tender that is?
Just got to be tender, hasn't it? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to show you how to get ribs this tender without a smoker.
I can smell that.
Hey, thank y'all for stopping by the wagon. And a question I get so many times is when I'm doing a rib video or something, man, if I live in an apartment, I can't do this. Or I'm going camping and I sure would like to cook some ribs, but I don't have a smoker. Folks, we have got you fixed up, because this is probably one of my most favorite ways to cook ribs, and I cooked them this way on ranches forever and ever, and all I had was a Dutch oven and a grate to put over the fire. And you can cook ribs just as good as you want to. They'll be so tender, fall off the bone. It's probably about I'd say 2.5 hour process, maybe 2 hours and 45 minutes, but hey, so easy. We're gonna walk you through it, show you how to get it done, and we're gonna eat some ribs. You gotta love them. People have been wanting to just hold a bone and gnaw on meat since way back in the caveman days.
Since the dawn of time.
He's not going to lie, that's probably the best way to eat food, isn't it? Buffalo wings on the bone, like, ribs, bone, just pick it up by the bone. Yeah.
When the land was still wild, man has always been fascinated with fire and meat. A legend once heard is that of the cowboy caveman who, after wandering the prairies, became tired of gnawing on bones.
When you go to the store to pick out some ribs, there's some things you need to look for. These here got a lot of meat on them. We're doing some baby backs today, but they just have more flavor to me. I think they cook better. And I've cooked all kinds of ribs, from deer ribs to pork ribs to beef ribs. Might even cook some armadillo ribs one time and don't even remember. But see how we got a little marbling all through here, and we got just a little fat. We need that because it's going to render down to make it even more tender. You don't want to see no bones shining right up here at the top. Them are what we call shiners. Leave them alone. Pick you something out. Marbling, remember, is in pork just like it is in beef. So you got your ribs just like you want them, and you're thinking, I don't really know how to peel them ribs there, to pull that membrane off, and I don't feel comfortable about it. You know that guy working behind that meat counter? He can do that for you.
Get him to do
Lay
it,
him up there and say, hey, would you peel these ribs for me? He'll take his time.
That's exactly what I say to the butcher when I go in. I always say, can you prepare it for me so I'm ready to go with cooking? And he always goes, yeah, no problem. And they
I
do
didn't
it.
know you could do that.
What'd take me probably like 45 minutes to do something takes them like 20 seconds. Yeah.
He'll pull it off there, put it back in a sack, wrap it up, and you'll be good to go. But it's so easy to do. Just find you a bone right here close. I like to use this end of the spoon versus the other end. So just slip that spoon right under that membrane, go right down that bone, and you can see it's under there. You can see it shining through there. Pull it right up here like this. And then folks, your number one best friend here in all this is a paper towel. Reach down there and grab that membrane, and it just comes off just like you'd be peeling off a good sock. Next.
45 minutes?
Yeah, I'd have a knife and everything. I'd have cut my finger twice by now. Right? I'd be told someone to F off.
Yeah, maybe just stick to sausage rolls.
Thing is, we're going to cook this in a Dutch oven. So I really don't want to put it in there like that because it's too close to the top of the lid. So we're going to sort of split this rib in half.
So, yeah.
Let me see. Uno, dos, tres, 1, 2, 3, 6. We're going to go about right here. I would say them two sides are going to match. Now, if you're in an apartment and you want to do this, okay, first, get you a full pan that is disposable. Get you a wire rack and put in there that'll fit in it, and you can lay your whole rack of ribs on it. You don't have to split them. And then you're going to season the ribs really well, preheat that oven, 200 and about 80 degrees Fahrenheit. got your wire rack, got everything in there. Let's go ahead and season these ribs. And I'm gonna use our rib rub, but use your favorite barbecue seasoning like you like to put on stuff. I like a base that's got a little brown sugar in it, but also has some cumin, some chili powder, something like that. That's why I'm going with this. And for better coverage, always start up here at the top, pretty high. You'll get a better coverage on it. You know, I was telling you about cooking ribs on ranches, and I remember the first time that I broke out some pork ribs and cooked on a ranch.
How good
there was an old feller that was there. He was probably in his late 70s when I was in my late 30s. And he said, Cookie, I'm gonna tell you what, been around wagons all my life, and I have never had anybody cook ribs like this. And he said, I believe these might be the best ribs I ever eat. But folks, these are so easy to do, and Cowboys approved of them all the time. Now, in your full pan that you're fixing to use in that apartment, and you got your wire rack in there, go ahead and pour you a whole box of chicken broth in the bottom. Wire rack is there, then you're gonna set your ribs on it, you're gonna cover it with foil, stick it in the oven, shut the door, leave it alone. You're gonna go about 2 hours and 15 or 20 minutes. Peel that foil off, take that temperature probe in there and run in there and say, hey, we're about 180, 185, we're good. Ribs at a done temperature, I think, are probably pretty close to 195 to 200. A lot of people take them on up to about 205, let them ribs fall plumb apart. But if you're camping and you're with me and you're doing this in a Dutch oven, we got a 14-inch deep here. We're gonna add that whole box of chicken broth. Now the reason we're using a 14-inch deep Dutch oven is when we lay these down there, bone side down, I hope, yeah, just what I'd figured, we're not coming up here on the top side and getting any of our seasoning washed off. This is a steaming effect, and this is really a French method of cooking, Shan. Say you don't have a deep 14, but you want to use like a 12. So cut your ribs into thirds and see what's going to fit in your oven before you ever put your chicken broth in there. And if you're using a smaller oven, it's probably just going to take about 3/4 of a box of that chicken broth. So you don't want it to ever come up on top. Now, when this got a lid on it and it's cooking, it's steaming these ribs, making them tender. Now, for you folks that ain't got no Dutch oven and you still want to do this when you're camping, get you a big old stew pot. Just lay them down in there, put you some chicken broth in there, put the lid on it, let it steam. Just get it to sort of a good low boil and just let it sit there and boil till you see all that meat pull from that bone on both ends of them ribs. Probe your temperature. You can do it the same method, then put them on the fire to finish.
Incredible how he does that.
Shovel full of coals out there, sift the ash. I had done place the trivet on the ground. And folks, this is a little different than cooking bread because we can put coals directly under this. Sure, we're on a tall trivet, but we're gonna put coals all around the bottom, load the top up. Not much wind today in southwest Oklahoma, so we won't have to rotate too much. But out here, this is probably gonna take, I'd say, hour and 20 minutes, hour and 30 minutes, something like that. Now, when we're cooking this, check the level of that chicken broth as you go along. We want it to come up to them ribs to where it's facing right at the top of them, not cover them, but right at the top of them edges. Make sure that you maintain that because as you're cooking along, you will lose some of that. We're gonna come to, probably say like a low boil for about an hour and 30, hour and 40 minutes.
How good does that look?
Since this is a longer cook, you're going to need more wood to get this done, more coal, more fuel. So I prefer a hardwood lump, charcoal, or some good hardwood that you have in small pieces that's going to make you a coal pretty quick. Supposed to be about 108 degrees. We started about 6:30 this morning. And I can remember being really hot at times, but I think one of the worst was a guy called me that's having to move cattle out of the bottom of the Palo Duro Canyon because windmills is going dry. We need to move them somewhere else. So we went the 10th day of July and did 2 weeks. It was miserable, hot down in the bottom of that canyon, wasn't no wind. Cowboys would get up and we'd try to have breakfast about 5. They'd ride out of camp and go. They'd try to be in about 11:30. and we'd have lunch. Now, a lot of days they just shade up right after lunch because it's hard to move cattle when it's that hot too. But still, I had to get ready to prepare supper that night. And folks, when you bust a log off an old Bertha and it's already 111 degrees and you start a fire and it's 137, there's a guy had one of them little temperature guns, you know, where you point at something to see. And I said, don't tell me what that temperature is. I don't want to know. I said, because I'm already hot enough. But you just have to know that if cowboys can work in it, I'm gonna have to cook in it. You know, when it's that hot, I do change the menu too. We have a lot of cold sides that's gonna go with them, like a macaroni salad, a potato salad, something like that, because I want to try to keep things cool. I brought in some watermelons, brought in some cantaloupes, but you still gotta have that hot breakfast and you gotta have a hot meal at night. Now, I've had a heat stroke back in about 96 because I was cooking and we had what they call, the weathermen said, a heat burst, and it just brought all the heat down there to where we was cooking. It was 117 degrees that day before we started the fire. And folks, I just don't like to cook in hot weather. So if y'all are out there cooking in it, working in it, I tip my hat to you because it's hot.
Cool off in there.
Time for the dogs to cool off here.
Been on about an hour and 20 we have, so let's see what's happening in here. We're beginning to get some pretty good color. Hold on there, lid. Don't hit a bone. We are at 180. We're gonna finish up over here on this grill, so let me get this thing ready to go. We got us some cherry wood and a little mesquite in there. I don't want a raging hot fire with the flames licking out here this tall. I want a pretty good bed of coals, but a little flame, because we're going to be flipping these ribs back and forth to get us some good color. Now, if you're doing this in the house, we've pulled them out of there, we've probed it, we're about 180 to 185. Take that foil off of them. Meanwhile, turn that oven temp up to about 350. Go ahead and season them ribs just a little more right there on top. We want to just make sure that we're getting some of that good color now. So slip them back in the oven, shut the door. Probably going to go about, I'd say maybe 20 minutes at the most. You just want to get some good color to it, but you want to bring that internal temp up to about 200, 202.
I can taste that seasoning. Look at it.
Rib rub. Red River Mud Barbecue.
Have you tried that barbecue sauce I've got at home? I think it's called...
Oh, the spicy one.
It's called Stubbs or Stubbies.
Something like that. I didn't realise what it was called, but it was the spicy one.
I don't think it's spicy.
Oh.
It's not spicy to me anyway.
No, it's not spicy, but it says it on the pack. It says like spicy barbecue sauce.
Oh, that's is it Ray's? Something Ray's.
Oh, I don't know. But what's the point of painting it? Why not just dunk it all on it? You know what I mean?
You get coverage though if you're painting it on.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not just sort of like blobbing it on and it's going to run off with the painting on. You glazing it. Yeah. Look at that.
Well, you see me there at the end when we took them out of that Dutch oven, just put them on that fire, let them go about 2 minutes aside, back and forth till you can get some really good color. And then you can baste them with some barbecue sauce, or you can just leave them alone, serve them just like it is, but I guarantee you they're tender when we cut them there. But I've had some really good help today. Magey, where you at? Mage, there you are. Thank you for helping out. Now I'm gonna get me a bite, and I want you to know how tender these ribs are.
Yeah.
Very tender. To me, folks, one of the best way. Hang on, Shannon. To me, this is one of the best ways that you can cook ribs, really, if you really want tender ribs. And hey, easy as it can be, remember you can do them when you're camping, you can do them in your house, you can do them in your apartment. Well, I'd like to thank y'all for joining us today because we had a good time. The pups was a little hot, there it was. It's supposed to be about 108 in this old corner today, but it is with pride and privilege and honor that I tip my hat to all the servicemen and women and all the veterans that have kept that old flag flying above camp there. We appreciate and commend you all. We do. The rest of you, come on in here.
You're sweaty.
I'm sweaty. I'm gonna give you a big old sweaty hug. God bless you each and every one, and I'll see you down I Ain't Got No Smoker Best Rib Trail. You know, because this is a longer cook, you don't want out of, them are hard words. But when you're looking at ribs, Cletus says he likes ribs. See through? You know, for those of y'all that have been with us a long time, you might have seen this little clip that we put in this video of the caveman cooking out there. Now, we had a great time with that, and that was over 7 years ago it was. But hey, stick around and watch all of it, because Shan had me dress up with this wig. She put these clips in my hair. She's throwing ashes and stuff at me where I looked all dirty, and all I could hear was laughing. So be sure and watch it, because it was some great times.
That was pretty good though.
Just people, you run the camera. Do people know what I have to put up with?
Pete, get out of the shot. Come here.
Look like a dork.
The start of the show. Yeah, I think people should have to watch Cowboy Kent and Bob Ross every day for an hour each. Yeah,
you have
to calm everyone down, right? Yeah. Then there'd be no drama in the world.
Just proper fancy some ribs now. Do you know what I mean? That's what it does.
It's the problem when you watch them shows like that. I can't
just go out and buy that.
Mm. Well, make it. Oh, you make it yourself. It's more rewarding, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. But you have to wait like 2 hours.
Well, that's it, isn't it? Yeah, but they did look good though, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that barbecue sauce looked good as well.
It did, didn't it?
We'll have to get some Cowboy Kent stuff when we go to the USA.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring it back with us. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.
Cheers.
Cheers.